Hey NFL fans, before we dive into today's hottest stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. From NFL News Now, the saga of Trevon Diggs and the Dallas Cowboys has taken yet another dramatic turn this season, and it feels like the tension is finally reaching a boiling point. Ever since the summer, when Diggs was docked $500,000 for rehabbing away from the team facility, it has been clear that the relationship between the star cornerback and the organization was fraught with friction. What started as a minor disciplinary issue quickly evolved into a complicated storyline that has kept fans, analysts, and insiders glued to every update, trying to decipher what the future holds for both parties. Diggs' season has been anything but smooth. After being benched earlier in the year, the former All-Pro suffered a mysterious concussion and has been battling a nagging knee injury, ultimately landing him on injured reserve. Dallas opened his 21-day practice window, a procedural move that typically signals a return to the active roster, but as of now, with only 3 weeks left in the regular season, Diggs has yet to be added back to the lineup. If he is not activated by the weekend, it is not just the season that could end for Diggs. It could very well mark the conclusion of his tenure with the Cowboys altogether. Rumors have swirled about the relationship being severed, with mixed messages from both Diggs and the Cowboys organization only adding to the confusion. Fans and insiders alike are left wondering how this high-profile rift will ultimately resolve. Given the circumstances, it seems increasingly likely that the best outcome for both sides is to part ways during the off-season and give each a fresh start. While the emotional side of this story grabs headlines, the financial implications for the Cowboys are equally significant. Should the team decide to move on from Diggs, they would gain substantial salary cap relief, which could be a game-changer as they look toward future roster construction. The specifics, of course, hinge on whether Dallas opts for a pre-June 1st or post-June 1st designation in executing a trade or release. In the scenario where the Cowboys choose a pre-June 1st trade or release, the team would save $12.5 million in cap space immediately, but they would also absorb $5.88 million in dead cap. This approach allows for an immediate resolution of the drama, clearing the locker room and freeing the team to focus on its remaining games and off-season planning. On the other hand, patience could pay off. A post-June 1st designation would allow the Cowboys to save somewhere between $12.5 and $15.5 million, with only $0.9 million in dead cap. This approach not only maximizes the financial benefit, but also allows Dallas to align its decision-making with the start of free agency and the NFL draft, putting in motion a more strategic approach to roster construction and long-term planning. The choice between immediate relief and calculated patience is a classic NFL balancing act, one that could have ripple effects for the franchise's trajectory over the next several seasons. Looking at the on-field production, Diggs' numbers this year have been underwhelming, to say the least. In just 6 games played this season, he has recorded only 18 tackles and has yet to tally an interception or pass defensed. The stark contrast between expectations and output is impossible to ignore, particularly given the 5-year, $97 million extension he signed, which has seen him participate in only 19 of 43 total games. When you put it in that context, it becomes hard to justify retaining him if the chemistry between player and team cannot be restored. For the Cowboys, this may be a case of cutting losses and moving forward with a clean slate, allowing the organization to address both financial and strategic needs in one decisive move. While the Diggs drama unfolds off the field, the Cowboys' struggles have continued unabated on the field, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. In Week 15, Dallas fell to the Minnesota Vikings 34-26, in a game that highlighted long-standing issues in their secondary. Quarterback J.J. McCarthy, hardly considered a superstar, carved up the Cowboys' defense with a performance that seemed to defy logic. The lack of coverage and persistent gaps led to a withering critique from former NFL head coach Rex Ryan, who did not mince words in calling out the defensive woes. Ryan asserted that while Dallas may boast a Super Bowl-caliber offense, their defense simply stinks, pointing to an ongoing issue that has plagued the team throughout the season. His critique was blunt but resonant, as he noted that even a modest quarterback like McCarthy looked like a legend in comparison to the breakdowns consistently occurring in the Cowboys' secondary. Ryan's dissection went beyond player performance, shining a spotlight on coaching decisions and schemes. He questioned whether the failures were entirely personnel-based or if coaching missteps allowed opposing offenses to exploit the Cowboys repeatedly, highlighting statistical anomalies. He noted that despite averaging 29 points per game on offense, a scoring level normally sufficient to secure a playoff berth, the Cowboys' defensive deficiencies have consistently derailed their postseason hopes in the last 30 years. He emphasized, it is a rarity for a team scoring at that clip to miss the playoffs, illustrating the severity of the defensive problems. The implication was clear: offensive firepower alone cannot compensate for structural and tactical flaws on the defensive side. This critique dovetails with observations regarding defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus, who has attempted to implement a zone-heavy scheme with a secondary constructed more naturally for man coverage. The mismatch between strategy and personnel has been glaring, contributing to repeated breakdowns and exposing weaknesses that opposing teams have exploited. Head coach Brian Schottenheimer, while praised for his offensive ingenuity and accountability with players, has also faced criticism for allowing these defensive lapses to persist, effectively letting coaching deficiencies undermine the team's overall performance. The dual pressure on Eberflus and Schottenheimer underscores a key tension in the Cowboys' leadership structure. Offensive success cannot be fully celebrated when defensive reliability remains elusive. Taken together, the situation with Diggs and the team's defensive struggles presents a crossroads moment for Dallas. Off-season decisions loom large, with the possibility of trading or releasing Diggs providing both financial flexibility and the opportunity to recalibrate the roster. Meanwhile, coaching and scheme decisions will come under intense scrutiny, with the need to align strategy with personnel becoming a central talking point for analysts and fans alike. The stakes are high, as the Cowboys must navigate a complex landscape of player management dynamics, salary cap implications, and on-field performance issues. Every choice made this offseason will ripple into the future, shaping not just the immediate fortunes of the team, but potentially its long-term trajectory in the highly competitive NFC East. Fans can expect the Cowboys to address the Diggs situation swiftly once the regular season concludes, likely turning their attention to the draft, free agency, and coaching evaluations. The team's approach to these intertwined challenges will speak volumes about the direction of the franchise and its commitment to balancing talent, temperament, and tactical coherence as the drama continues to unfold. It is clear that the Cowboys face a defining offseason, one where strategic clarity and decisive action could spell the difference between another frustrating campaign and a genuine return to contender status. Trevin Diggs, once a cornerstone of the secondary, may very well serve as the catalyst for change, symbolizing both the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead for Dallas football. With the combination of salary cap flexibility, coaching scrutiny, and the ever-present need for defensive stability, the offseason promises to be as dramatic and consequential as anything we have witnessed during the regular season. Keep watching as we analyze more details about some rumors in what can only be described as one of the most dramatic turns of events in the current NFL season. The Dallas Cowboys find themselves alive in the playoff hunt, riding a wave of controversy that has fans, pundits, and rivals talking nonstop. The rumor mill is swirling, and whispers have already begun circulating around stadiums, sports bars, and online forums alike. Sources close to the league suggest that a last-minute decision, one that came literally out of nowhere, has kept the Cowboys in contention, and the implications of that decision are sending shockwaves through the football world. People are questioning whether this is simply good fortune, strategic brilliance, or a hint of something more eyebrow-raising behind the scenes. The story is developing rapidly, and while nothing has been officially confirmed, insiders hint that the ruling could have been influenced by a combination of technicalities, league discretion, and perhaps the undeniable star power of the Cowboys themselves, who, love them or hate them, always seem to be at the center of the drama. Fans have been particularly vocal, with some celebrating the lifeline extended to their team as if fate itself had intervened. Social media platforms are lighting up with hashtags, GIFs, and endless debates about whether the decision was fair or if it bends the rules in a way that only benefits teams with the kind of national spotlight the Cowboys have. Pundits are weighing in with varying degrees of skepticism and excitement. One network analyst suggested that the ruling could redefine how playoff scenarios are perceived moving forward, potentially setting a precedent for other teams who might find themselves in similar situations in The future, meanwhile, opposing fans are almost uniformly incredulous, claiming that the Cowboys' victory given seems more like a gift than a hard-earned triumph on the field. Yet, despite the controversy, the reality is that the team is still alive in the playoff picture, and with that lifeline, the entire narrative of the season has shifted dramatically. The drama began to unfold late in what had already been a high-stakes game, with both teams pushing their limits and the atmosphere practically vibrating with tension. Rumors suggest that league officials were in heated discussions behind closed doors, consulting rule books, past precedents, and perhaps even weighing the optics of the situation. The decision, when it was finally announced, left players, coaches, and fans alike momentarily speechless. You could see it in the expressions of those on the sidelines: astonishment, disbelief, and for some, quiet relief. The quarterback, usually composed and laser-focused, was reportedly seen muttering to himself and gesturing toward the coaches, as if trying to make sense of a reality that had shifted in a matter of minutes. Analysts watching live describe the scene as surreal, noting that rarely has a ruling had such immediate and visible impact on the human element of the game. Coaches, who typically project unwavering confidence, were suddenly caught in a liminal space between celebration and strategic recalibration, knowing that the consequences of the ruling would reverberate through the rest of the season. Rumors about the nature of the decision are flying fast. Some claim it was related to a previously overlooked technicality in the timing of plays, while others suggest that it might have involved a review of off-field conduct or procedural errors by the opposing team. One source, speaking on the condition of anonymity, hinted that the decision might have been influenced by the sheer magnitude of the game itself, suggesting that the league wanted to preserve a sense of competitiveness and fan engagement, which, admittedly, the Cowboys command in abundance. Speculation is rampant that internal league politics played a role, with certain executives seeing the potential publicity and revenue benefits of keeping such a high-profile team alive in the postseason. Every angle seems to carry weight in the conversation, and every rumor feeds into the growing sense of anticipation surrounding the team's next steps. As fans digest the news, the narrative is already evolving. Supporters of the Cowboys are embracing the notion that their team is somehow destined for greatness, as if the universe itself conspired to extend their playoff hopes. Merchandise sales reportedly spiked almost instantly, with jerseys, caps, and memorabilia flying off the shelves in anticipation of what could be a historic run. Meanwhile, critics and rival fans are organizing online campaigns to question the legitimacy of the decision, pointing to prior instances where teams were not afforded similar leniency or interpretation of the rules. The debate is intensifying, and while the league has maintained a carefully measured public stance, the behind-the-scenes chatter is anything but calm. Coaches and players are undoubtedly aware of the scrutiny, yet insiders suggest that the team is channeling the controversy into motivation, practicing with a renewed sense of urgency and focus, as if each drill and play is an opportunity to silence doubters and prove that, whatever the circumstances, they belong in the playoff picture. The potential psychological impact on both the Cowboys and their opponents cannot be understated. Teams facing Dallas in the coming weeks are reportedly studying the ruling, trying to anticipate whether it has given the Cowboys an intangible advantage in confidence or momentum. Sports psychologists are weighing in on how a given victory might alter a team's mindset, suggesting that players might feel a mix of relief, pressure, and newfound responsibility. The dynamic is fascinating because it is rare for an external decision to so dramatically shift the internal culture of a team mid-season. Conversations in locker rooms across the league are reportedly dominated by what-if scenarios, dissecting every angle of how the ruling came to be and how it might affect upcoming matchups. Analysts are already predicting that, regardless of future outcomes, this moment will be studied for years as an example of how extrinsic factors can ripple through the fabric of a competitive season. Meanwhile, the media circus surrounding the Cowboys continues unabated. Every training session, press conference, and public appearance is scrutinized with heightened intensity, as journalists hunt for any hint of internal sentiment about the ruling. Reporters are combing through social media posts, player interviews, and even subtle gestures captured on camera, trying to piece together a picture of how the team is responding to a situation that is unprecedented in its immediacy and impact. Even commentators who typically remain neutral are now forced to acknowledge that the narrative has shifted, with the Cowboys at the center of a story that blends sport, drama, and rumor into a single, compelling package. The fans, naturally, are fueling the fire with every tweet, meme, and discussion thread, making it clear that the league's decision has transcended the field and become a cultural talking point. In its own right, as the playoff race intensifies, questions abound. Will the Cowboys seize this controversial lifeline and turn it into a historic run? Or will the shadow of the ruling hang over them, creating added pressure and scrutiny that could derail their momentum? Rumors continue to circulate about how the team is internally processing the situation, with some insiders suggesting that late-night meetings and strategic sessions are already underway to maximize the advantage while mitigating potential distractions. Coaches are reportedly emphasizing discipline, resilience, and focus, framing the ruling not as a gift but as an opportunity that the team cannot afford to squander. Analysts predict that this combination of high stakes, psychological tension, and league attention creates a perfect storm for unforgettable football moments, and the Cowboys are at the eye of it all, navigating a path that is as uncertain as it is electrifying. Ultimately, what makes this story so captivating is the blend of sport, rumor, and human drama. The Cowboys' survival in the playoff race is no longer just about wins and losses. It is about the narrative arc of a team that, whether by luck, strategy, or unseen influences, finds itself with a second chance when most teams would have been eliminated. The ripple effects are being felt across the league, in the locker rooms, in fan communities, and in the boardrooms, where the financial and reputational stakes of football are constantly measured. Each rumor, each whispered theory, and each speculative analysis adds layers to the story, making it clear that this is not just a game. It is a saga in which the Cowboys are central characters navigating a plot line that could define the season, if not the league itself. With tension mounting, eyes watching, and debates raging, one thing is certain: the Cowboys' journey through the playoffs will be followed with a mixture of excitement, skepticism, and unrelenting curiosity, as fans and critics alike wait to see how this unprecedented situation unfolds on the grand stage of professional football. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your fellow NFL fans. Stay tuned for more updates only here on NFL News Now.